Make sure that it's something that you can do, not just on a physical aspect, but mentally. This job is very mentally draining. It does have its mental aspects. If you're coming from a minority background, it may be a little bit even more challenging because it's not something that's really a job force that the minority community is pushing for. So one of my things I always tell people, I've been a deputy for 16 years. So my thing I always tell people is that you can't complain about something if you don't want to have a seat at the table. So my thing is when decided to become a deputy, it was I wanted a seat at the table, but then I decided to take rank. I've took 2 ranks since I've been with the sheriff department. So now it's more or less, not only do I have a seat at the table, I also have a voice at the table that people want to hear. So with that being said, is if people decide that they want to become into law enforcement, and people always say, oh, I want to change my community, things of that nature, I want to be a symbol. I mean, that's a great idea, but you honestly have to do it for yourself. It's good to say you're going to be a leader for everybody, but it's better off to just know that if you can't do it for yourself, the money, everything else, and be able to deal with the backlash that you may or may not get from your family and friends and loved ones, then it's not something I would recommend to anybody. I was down during the protests and things of that nature, so I got to see firsthand. And you get kind of a torn feeling because you have people telling you that they support you, they're here for you as a black man, but then as a black officer, they're not as supportive. When you have people wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts, but they're calling you racial slurs because they're calling you Uncle Tom because you're wearing a uniform, but it's like, you gotta remember, I'm a black man first. So that was kind of hard, dealing with family members who let the media kind of dictate their thought process when it came to, you're the ops, you're 12, you're not welcome around here. That goes back to the mental thing, being able to mentally deal with things like that. Like I said, I've been a cop for 16 years now. So during that time period of dealing with that, hearing loved ones, and I'm not talking distant cousins, I'm talking siblings, who saying like, you the ops, we can't deal with you, blah, 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 things of that nature, which is crazy because, 5 years ago, a little bit further before Black Lives Matter, of course, I was the one that they were proud of. I'm the one that they, thing they were encouraged of. So it was mentally draining. It was almost to the point where I was almost on the fence about walking away. I looked into other opportunities as far as career-wise, but at the end of the day, I had to, again, go back to my purpose of being a cop was. So with that being said, it made me more motivated to say, like, you know what? There is people out here that's ignorant, whether they're family or friends, or whatever the case may be, but there's a lot of other people that need people like me, or at least be able to see people like me. One of the things I did is, as a cop, even before Black Lives Matter, was I partnered with the Big Brothers Big Sister and started a program called Bigs in Blue, which is a police officers that mentor kids we used to go to Youngstown Elementary. So you become mentors. So you take them as when they're in the fifth grade, and you stay their mentor all throughout high school. But the purpose of it was to get people who look like them, who may have a different job for us. Because when we introduce ourselves, we don't tell them that we're cops. We let them know they think we're just regular mentors. And then once they get that connection with us, then we say, oh, and by the way, I'm a cop. And they were like, wow, I never even knew I can even be a cop, things like that. And I mean, it's a job that a lot of kids don't know. I mean, like for the sheriff department, you can be a deputy at 18, and a lot of people don't know that. And it's a 6-figure job that's well paid, but that's something, again, that's not pushed into our communities as much because it's theoretically not something that our parents grew up on saying that that's a job I want my kid to do. One of my biggest motivations of being a cop was, I was athletic. My brothers, we all were athletic, and our thing was we felt like sports was our only way out. So my thing was, due to injury, I had to show that there's other ways out of here, that the street don't provide you, or that a ball don't provide you as well. So I would say my wife is very supportive. I was on third shift for almost 8 years, working third shift patrol. During the time period of me my wife has never downplayed or said, I want you to stop, I want you to quit, or anything like that. Since I've been on the force up here, I was, just last year, I was involved in a shooting where I got ambushed. My wife still was there supportive. She didn't want me to walk away from a career. We have 2 little kids, so, like she always says, no matter what, just make sure you get home. You got something to fight for no matter what. So like I said, she's been with me since, me and my wife have been together for about 13 years. So for the start of our career, when I was in corrections all the way up to now on patrol, she's always been supportive about me trying new things. And whether it's doing investigations, going undercover, or anything like that, she's been a huge supporter in my career. Not so much as in football, but which is crazy because she'll support my career all day long, but when it comes to football, she's like, this is your last year, right? So yeah, I've heard that probably for like the last 4 or 5 years. It's my last year. So.